hello. This is Kwanza Global, and this is Grace.
This is Mayokun, and this is episode 13, and we're going to be talking about discipline.
Discipline. I am really excited about this topic, honestly, because I feel like being able to do what you gotta do really need discipline. At the end of the day, we're all human. But when you're no longer motivated, and that's when discipline keeps you grounded and focused. So really, discipline helps you with consistency. Discipline does not care about your feelings or excuses. Discipline respects the work you put in, and it really does keep you in check because sometimes you may be out of focus, you might be distracted, but knowing that you need to go to work in order to pay your bills. Like, who gonna pay your bill? You need these things. And also, not only that, loving what you do, right? So for example, somebody who hates their job, do you really think they're gonna have that discipline in wanting to keep on pushing? I mean, it's true, you gotta pay your bills, but when you're like, once you're settled in your mind, you're kind of like, you kind of like question yourself, like you're feeling distracted. You're like, is it really what I wanting to do? Is it like you're really starting to question yourself, and you question whether you even see yourself in that place? And you may get the money, but is it what really want like is it really what you want to do? Is it where you want to end your life in? So honestly, discipline really keeps you in check, and also gives you that motivation that you really need, because at the end of the day, we do need to be disciplined in order to really to become our best, to continue and become our best version of ourselves at the end of the day, because it's all about doing what you need to do, and also being able to love the place you're in.
Yeah, if you don't love where you're at, discipline doesn't help, because you don't want to. If you don't want to do, or you don't love what you do, and there's no desire to do it in the first place at all, it can be hard. Like, if that's not where, no matter whatever you're doing, if you know that's not really where you're supposed to be, whether it be a job or whatever you're doing at the moment, if that's not your place, or you don't understand where you're headed, discipline can be hard, just because you won't understand why you're being disciplined why you need to be disciplined anyway, because you don't see a purpose behind it. You don't see a reason to be disciplined. You don't see a reason not to go out and party, you don't see a reason not to wake up late. You don't see a reason not to do these things, which are a part of being disciplined. You don't see a reason not to do any of these things, because you're not sure. You don't really care as far as at the place you're at. You're not really motivated. You don't know if this is where you're gonna be here. You're like, there's no direction. There's no purpose behind it. You don't see a reason. So that's why, once you actually understand what it is you love to do, what it is you're actually working towards something you love to do, there's a purpose behind it each and every day. Discipline can now be a part of that, because those days where naturally you just feel tired, or you're just out of it, or you feel like taking a break or a day off, in the middle of maybe a groove where you're really hitting it off, or you're really starting to put things together, and those days where maybe your just mood is off, or you just feel like slacking a little bit, instead of kind of pushing yourself, or doing what you said you would do, and checking things off. Like, that's when discipline kicks in, and it's easier to have that discipline when it's something you love to do, because there's a reason why you're not gonna forget to do this, or maybe you won't go out that certain day to have fun, because you have to get this done, so later on you reap the benefits of it, or you see your work is well done because you stayed in and put in that work instead of doing something that might have been a temporary enjoyment for you, but then it leaves you falling behind in the long run in whatever it is you're trying to achieve. So discipline is really important, but it only comes into effect once it's something that you really are working towards. That's when discipline kicks in, because there's no need to have discipline. You don't s- there's no discipline that is the registers in your head. That is what's the need for it. It's kind of just you're just doing the same old. The discipline isn't there. Um, in that case, because you don't even know for what. What are you actually being disciplined for, towards? So it's really important to understand what you're working towards, what you're doing, what you love to do. That's when discipline can really be be taken, can be effective. That's the word. It can really be effective for you, and you're not just why you're not doing certain things, or um, you know certain actions you're taking are towards bettering yourself and everything that you're trying to do,
That
and holds you accountable as well.
that also reminds me. Honestly, I don't know if I have to bring up that example, because you know how, okay, we do watch a lot of African movies, right? So you know how those parents don't, like, like, it could be like these rich parents, right, who are trying to have their older sons married. They're like, oh, if you do not, like, marry this girl, because they go ahead and try to have this arranged marriage with their sons, and with somebody that they trust, that they know. I want your daughter to match to marry my son. So, like, they're like, oh, it's just to keep him disciplined. I want him to, like, I want him to marry her in order for him to have the family's heritage, to have his dad's business, or, like, cause, like, sometimes they don't want to marry the the um the partner the parents find, because obviously it's not the person they want to marry. But their parents are like, if you marry this person, guess what? I'm gonna give you this and this and that. You're gonna own the family's house, or the family, or the family's business, or this and that. And they're in their minds, is to keep them disciplined. It's to keep their sons or their kids um disciplined. So it's funny how how, like, there's different ways of discipline, for sure, but in the sense that for them it's kind of like to control them, right? But when you think about it, it's also something that going to keep you in track, even though I'm not
Yeah,
going to the side of the parents,
yeah.
because
Okay.
sometimes the kids are not, may
Yeah,
not be
I
doing the
was gonna.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, like, with that, it's kind of the reason why that doesn't always, like, in those movies, why that doesn't always work, which it speaks to that, is like that's like the exact, like, the reason that doesn't work as far as them trying to discipline them, and have them on a, I guess, go the what they think is best for them, is
Mhm.
because it's not their choice. So it's like you can't, like, that type of discipline in that sense is like you can't really force them
Mhm.
to be,
Who
you
you
can't
want
force
them to
them
be.
you can't force them to be like put that on them and expect them to be disciplined in that way. They have to,
You have to
and
learn
that
as they grow out.
they have to, yeah, they have to be go on their own. So in that dynamic, that's another thing where it's like it's still, I mean, it's similar to, you know what we just said before. You have to actually have it's something that you have to get for yourself. Like, there's a reason why. Like, it's not about kind of I think you have to have that. You have to make that decision for yourself and see what it is, whatever it is you're trying to, whatever the goal is. You being disciplined then comes from you trying to achieve that goal, to get to that, next level, to that next stage, to whatever you're trying to get at or trying to do. So even in that example, discipline cannot come, or that type of discipline cannot really come through, you know, someone else. Like no one can, you know, discipline you, or hold you accountable, because discipline also holds you accountable. No one can hold you more accountable than you do. You still have to are accountable for your own decisions, your own actions. So whatever everyone else says or expects you or wants you or is telling you to do, you still also have to understand why you would do it. That if you decide to do certain things, you have to understand why you're doing it and how it
how it affects you,
yeah,
how
that
it will
helps you as well.
it will pretty much make you the best version of yourself, and how you would grow.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly,
How you'll grow from that is something.
and
you
honestly,
have to think
it
about.
could honestly go either way. You may be like, oh, it's not a bad idea, but it could also go wrong because I mean, it could also go in that way where you could be like, because I do not want to go in that direction, or I do not want to marry that person, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to be a better, I mean, I don't know, like a better person. Maybe go and pursue what you really want in life and not being worried about what price or whatever they're trying to bribe you about.
So basically, break off on your own.
Yeah, break off on your own pace and just doing what you gotta do, what you really want to do, instead of wanting to go in that direction and wanting to get whatever you thought you needed.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, so yeah, still with that example, it comes down to you, that using that, once you break off and make those tough decisions, it still comes down to discipline, but it's again it's more so self discipline in that.
Yeah, it's also it is actually, because it's
making that decision to do what's
right for you, because
you're
pretty much discipline again. In schools we have discipline rules to keep the students on track. Sometimes it could be seen as a punishment, but it's really for them to be their own best versions, because honestly, when you look at it, that's something that you take out of school and you pretty much make it a life choice. Not everyone respect the rules, we know, but at the end of the day, it's all about how this will translate in your life, how he would make you your best version. And I honestly feel like we should really think about what really matters in life, what we want to learn from life, instead of worrying about how we're going to succeed, because obviously we all want to succeed. Honestly, trust me, but also think about that. It is your journey. Honestly, at the end of the day, this is your journey, and it doesn't matter how, like, what anybody else is doing, as long as you're working towards what you need to do, where you are seeing yourself 5 years, 10 years from now. I honestly don't think that it shouldn't matter how you're doing it, as long as you're working towards it. Like, it doesn't matter even if it takes you 10 years, 5 years, 2 years. It's all about how you discipline yourself to getting to that goal. And it's all about staying staying motivated,
Yeah.
staying motivated is really important, because then that's where you continue
Yeah.
your
And
journey
that's
pretty
and
much.
that's and that's another reason for this topic, because even when you're not able to keep, even when those moments come, because again, no one is always, there's gonna be down times. There's gonna be times where you don't feel that motivation. So those times when you don't feel that motivation, even for the most part, you are, motivated to keep going and working. Especially when when you're doing, when you're working each and every day, towards something you love, doing something you love each and every day. That that purpose that you have is, is daily. It's a daily thing. So for the most part, you're always motivated. You're always, in that mindset of, getting better, and
Mm-hmm.
just,
Yeah.
you're always in that, that's that space. But there's, regardless of that, naturally there's just going to be times in life where we're not motivated and
Mm-hmm.
things
And
happen.
that's
That's
okay.
when that's
That's
when the
when you need to
discipline.
listen to podcasts, to Kwanza podcast, to actually keep you on
Yeah,
that energy you need.
that and that discipline will definitely help you a lot, because that discipline will push you to the next, that to keep going, to continue to that next level. Because when that motivation ends, discipline comes in, because that discipline will push you through those times, those moments where you don't feel like doing anything, and that's also what will breed consistency as well. Because when you're motivated,
You're
I mean,
consistent,
you're
and
gonna you're already
you
doing
are
what you have to do.
you are encouraged. You're
Yeah,
consistent, and
yeah. When you're
you
motivated, you're
succeed.
already doing what you have to do anyway. Um, but the thing is, once you're not motivated, discipline comes in, and that will kick in and allow you to continue to do what you were doing when you were motivated anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it allows for that consistency regardless. So whether you're motivated or not, you're still consistent because that discipline is there. But for the most part, you're already, um, ready to go. You already have that energy. You're already always, about getting that work in. But that discipline is always necessary, because it's just times in life where we just, you know, have to just get up and put one foot in front of the other, and just do what we have to do. Um, and it's brick by brick. It's brick
Mm-hmm.
by brick. Sometimes
One
you
step
just
at a
have to,
time.
you know, like when they're building a house or whatever, it's like a brick
The,
house. It's one brick.
right.
Like you have
And
to start with one brick, and
and
that's
you
it. You
also
can't look
and
at.
you also have to start with a good
Of
foundation.
course, that's a good foundation you need, and like each and every day, it progresses. It's not built in a day. It's not built in 2 days. It's just each and every day it's progress. So you put one brick on top of the other, put the cement, put one brick on top of the other, put it together. Eventually, it's gonna turn into a house. But each and every day, um, just like Grace said, you're laying that. You have that solid foundation, and then you're building. You're putting, you know, that brick. Each brick you that you're each and every day you're putting that work in is a brick. You know, you're motivated. You're doing what you have to do. That's another brick. You're putting that work in. That those days you don't feel motivated, you still putting in that work in. That discipline, lay another brick. You know, each and every day, um, and it eventually you will see the fruits of your labor. Eventually, you'll see that work that you put in, you know, come to reality, and see it right in front of you. So it's just brick by brick, you're seeing that work through, you know, and because and part of it is because you stayed disciplined, through those times when it was hard, and you just, it didn't look like anything, was happening yet. And that's the thing. So that's really an important part, of the journey we're on, brick by brick by brick. You know, it actually reminds me of a
Mhm.
this story Will Smith told in his book
Mhm.
about working with his dad
Mhm.
and with his brother as well, and how their dad was making them. I think he was making them rebuild something. I forgot what it was now. I think he would just rebuild. Oh, they were just rebuilding the wall, I believe, or something like that.
Mhm.
And their dad was making them do that work, you know, with their hands, and they were like real small, like they
Mhm.
were young and everything. And then, you know, Will was just talking about him and his brother just kind of like not wanting to do it at all. Like they were
Mhm.
like, why do we have to do this? Like
Mhm.
basically, like why can't we just get someone else to do this? So like all summer they were dreading it, but you know their dad was telling them it's like you know that basically they got to do it. It's like they got to suck it up and they just got to do it
Mhm.
and everything. And then you just like each and every day, you know, just lay another brick. And then before you know they knew it, of course, you know it was starting. You know the work they were putting in, they were starting to see it. Something that they looked at and they were like, "This is impossible. This is gonna take forever. Like we're this is ridiculous. Why is you know they were like, why is they were like, why is their dad making them do that, right? And then each and every day they were laying
Mhm.
another brick, and then before
Mhm.
they knew it, the work that seemed so hard and impossible
Mhm.
eventually was completed, and it was like, wow.
Wow.
But that's life, you know.
Yeah.
Those times when it's like it looks impossible, or it looks like,
Mhm.
or it's just something that it's like there's no way I'm gonna get this done today.
Right.
That's discipline.
Then you end up doing it.
Yep, that's discipline for you. Because you look at it, it's like it's just like in school. Like it's like yo, you have so much work,
Mhm.
homework you have to do, so much assignments. You have a test coming up, whatever.
Mhm.
I mean, what do we do? I mean, all of us here have gone to that moment where it's like we hate school, we
Oh
don't want to
my
go to
god.
school, but
It's only when it's done that you're like, oh.
yeah. But the thing about it is, we know we have to go.
Mhm.
One, we have to go. We didn't have a choice whether or not to go. But
Yeah.
two, we also realized that we wanted to graduate. We
Yeah.
wanted to get that degree. We didn't want to fail. We
Mhm.
really, there was a certain point for a lot of us too, though. It's like we're in school. It's like we're not trying to look at our paper and we failed
Right.
or we got a zero or whatever. No. So that's part of our
Yeah,
discipline.
that
We
was a motive.
like we weren't motivated. We weren't like, oh, we just love doing it. I mean, sometimes you do, but there's times where it's like, you know, you may not be taking a class you like, but you still want to do well in it because it's part of your grade. So it's
Right.
like you look at it, and then that's when that discipline comes. It's like I have to do well. I have to. Like
Yeah.
that's when it comes in. It's
But
like
some people don't have that.
yeah,
They don't.
yeah,
They don't.
but
They don't go to the class
yeah,
anyways. Yeah. Let's
yeah,
be
but
honest.
it's it's a mindset that you have to,
Yeah.
you know,
I think it's a training, honestly.
yeah,
Discipline is really about it's a training. You know,
yeah,
like
you have to understand.
you're training your brain to take it all in and just go ahead and do what
Yeah,
you need to do
yeah,
anyways.
exactly. You know, you really sometimes that's when you just have to tell yourself like, yo, you're gonna do this. Like this is not about no.
That
Don't let your
reminds me.
emotions.
There's this
Don't let your
episode.
emotions
There's
get
this
in the way.
right. There's this episode of the Pratt Family on Disney Plus, the new one, where they have this episode where watch me forget her name. When what's her name? The girl. Well, oh, Penny. When Penny didn't want to, she was tired of her parents nagging in her ears, like about I mean, her dad took her phone. Her dad took her phone because he was nagging her ears, like, you're not gonna go out with your friends. You need to sleep early, blah blah blah. You need to do your homework, and the girl was pissed. And then she was like, oh, I wish there was a world where I could just go. And then like now wanting her parents to disappear, but she wanted to disappear and go into a world where her parents don't exist. So she had this guy online who helped her, and she goes into another world in college. She thinks college is literally the life. You go there, you're free to do whatever you want. So she's like, please bring my friends too. So her friends sit down, they all go into the world, and then they're just there having fun. Just like, oh, we're free having fun. And then all of a sudden, like, now it gets real, right? Because that was just a moment for them to just have fun. Now when it gets real, and then her friends just all of them just go, do what they need to do for their classes. Some go to the music class, some go to the library, some do their homework and stuff like that. And then she's like, wait, where are you guys going? Our parents are not here. Like, we can have fun as long as much as we want. They're like, even if our parents are not here, that doesn't mean we don't gotta do what we need to do. Just like, what? I didn't know that when college was free. They're like, I'm sorry, I can't. So they're like, I mean, first, I'm not saying that like, but it's real though. It's something that happens in real life. When some students go, I mean, they're already disciplined. They know what they need to do. Like you said, that motivation to not fail, to not what's it called? To not lose yourself into having too much fun and not doing what you need to do. There's some people who have great balance on going to have fun and like coming straight back, like bouncing right back to what they need to what they need to what they need to do. And I'm actually like that. I feel like people need to have some sort of discipline on having fun and knowing what's priorities, and you need to do what you need to do, and don't, because the more fun you have, the more lazy you become. I don't know.
Yeah, like the more, like, no, it's crazy because like the more, like you have to, there has to be a balance because you're gonna have to make up for it, right? Basically, it's like sometimes you that's the thing though about the discipline, where it's like it keeps you in check, it holds you accountable, and it doesn't, it respects the work that you're supposed to be putting in anyway. That's the thing about discipline. So it respects the work you should be putting in.
Yeah.
It's like it wants you to get things done.
It's like I'm not gonna be doing. It's like I can't even like be having this much fun and not worrying about my future. It's like you're not gonna be stuck in this place. Like if you go to a bar and having so much fun and you just like you're like, oh, I'm gonna put this on the side, and then you just keep having fun, and then you're just not like you. At some point, you need to realize that this is not the life that you're trying to build for yourself, because fun is always going to be here, but what you're going to survive, like what are you going to survive on in the next 2 years or in the next 5 years, you have to at least have some steps to forward. If you don't have any steps to forward, there's nothing you're building onto in the future, and you can't be surprised when everyone is actually doing it. When people are actually there, because again, it doesn't matter how you do it. We're not saying that you just gotta straight go right back, like work your whole life. Of course, we're human, we need a break. That is totally fine. Again, it doesn't matter how you get there. This is your journey, but you also need to be able to realize that while you're playing, while you're joking, while you're doing all this fun, people are actually building into their future. And you can't be mad at them when they're getting there and now they're gonna have fun. Now they're trying to have fun, and then you're like, oh, I have to do this, and you're mad, and because you're jealous, and you envy, and you have all some sort of negative feelings. I'm not saying that's how you're gonna end up being, but I'm saying some people actually do feel this way.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like I'm going to live my life. The hard work I have to enjoy the hard work I put into. It's just like some people have balance. They don't know how to bounce back. They know how to, but some people don't have that, and it's sad to see our generation going down that road. We all want to look successful, but we're not actually doing the work. Yeah, this is really sad.
Yeah, that's so true, and I think discipline. I think people look at discipline in such a negative way too, because discipline is your friend when you think about it, because discipline saves you from a lot of regret. Discipline, if you look, like for those listening, and for us too, like we could look at our lives so far, and especially whoever's listening who's much older, you could look back in your life and just look at times where if you were disciplined, things would have, certain things that happen, you know, you wouldn't have you wouldn't necessarily it wouldn't necessarily have turned out, the way it turned out. So like maybe certain things, went left, because you just weren't able to be disciplined and maybe say the right thing that you're supposed to say or do the right thing. So discipline really keeps you in check. Again, it allows you to it gives you that control, or that balance that you need, where it's like it doesn't make you go, sometimes it won't allow you to go, in a certain, or do certain things, or say certain things that you're not supposed to be saying or doing, and put you in a tight spot, basically, you know and that could happen where it's like, all right, or you're partying way too late, or you're drinking way too much, and you're doing this and that, and it's every single day. That discipline will save you from that, and I'll make you kind of sit down and have that talk with yourself, really, and get your something we just mentioned earlier, get your priorities in order. Honestly, discipline is what you know makes you think about what you have to do first, what you have to do next, and after that, and then all the sit back, relax stuff comes later, and you enjoy that more. You can enjoy sitting down and watching TV and relaxing more, because you already know you put in that work and you got your business done. I don't know about y'all, but when me and Grace got mad stuff to do, that's all we're thinking about. We just get that stuff done. So by the time we get, once we have that time to just relax, it's like we're actually relaxing, because there's nothing left. It's like, oh, it's not, we didn't do this or do that or do that.
It's like, we already hyped up. Let's just get it done. Let's not waste time. Then when we're done,
and that involves, and we're not even just we're talking personally, like personal things, and business, business wise, for both. Just like getting things done, period. So it's not like it's something it's not something we switch on and off. We do, that's how we just that's just how that's how you have to just move.
I think we've like trained our brain. It's all about, like, I honestly think this scientific thing about training the brain to get used to things is actually really true.
Yeah,
because by that time, because I swear to God, by the time I was in high school, I was already doing this stuff.
Yeah,
like as soon as
it's true.
I would say by the time I even came in this country, honestly, because in my country, I wasn't really thinking about it like that. I mean, I don't know if it's the country that made me this way. Maybe it's America. Because honestly, well, I was in my country, but it was more like, it was like an everyday routine, like I was young, my parents around me, and then like all I really have to worry about is school, right? Primary school here and there. But once I came in this country, it became more like like a thing, like, it got really personal to me. It's like, if I feel like I don't have these things in order, these things done, checked, I don't really feel comfortable. It's like something is not going right. Like I was saying, I don't know, that sounded really familiar to me. I feel like I've said that before. Not feeling comfortable when I don't do certain routine. It's in order every day, that I have to train my brain in being trying something new. I feel like, and then when I got with we moved in together, it got really serious. It's like, we have to get these things done, like you said. When we're like already, when our energy is already up, hyped up, and we're already there. And not even only that, it's like, it's a thing where we just feel like priorities comes first, and then other things comes after. Again, we're all human. Even if we didn't get these things done, we still feel like the next day we're on it. If we're not done, we cannot do. Like we cannot focus on something else unless we got these things done. And it's honestly, it's normal. It's a natural thing, but for some people it may not be a big deal because they're like, oh, like
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
But to some people, it's like no. That's how you get used to it. And that's how when you grow up, when you become like when you have kids, when we have kids, we're like, okay, there's priorities. Like there's priorities first. She needs to do this, blah blah blah, and that's how we get things done, right?
Yeah, I think it's very practical, and it's something that everyone, I mean, it's something that can be evident in everyone's lives if you really think about it. Through personal experience, how discipline works and how it helps and how it affects us. Proper, self discipline, just holding yourself accountable. I think that honestly, when you're not, when that self discipline is lacking, you just have to look at why that is. And I think it's always just because of the simple fact that if you don't know what you're actually, again, being disciplined for, you don't see a reason to necessarily be disciplined, something to
I
work towards.
It's funny.
It's hard to really just
Right.
hold yourself to that, to a certain standard. It's because you'll feel like it's for what, why should I not
Right.
do
Right.
this or do
It's
that?
funny that you said that because I also, I also was thinking of something when I was saying that I don't know why I got this way when I came to this country. Well, I was thinking maybe it was because of this country. I think it also is on how you were raised on. It is really the education you got growing up. My whole life, because I told you I was the only child when my mom and dad got divorced. So I was only living with my dad. So me and my dad were the only two people living together. So imagine I was already growing up. I was already that adult because I was telling my dad what to do and how to do it. Like I'll be like, you're going to work. Here, the food. I need this and this and that. So I was already growing up before I even knew it. So I already knew. I mean, I was already disciplined before I even knew what it means now. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like to me it wasn't even like I have to be disciplined. Like I already was.
Yeah, I
Like
get
I
it.
became that.
Yeah, it was like
Because
a,
it was like a
really
thing. So it's
good,
like that was to
really good
me
thing.
when people like when I was in college,
Yeah.
people just going and having fun and not
Mhm.
having the homework done and this and that.
Yeah.
I wasn't judging them, but I was like, this is something I could never do because
Yeah.
I would never be comfortable in my skin knowing I have so much stuff sitting on my bed
Yeah.
and I'm out there drinking and having fun. Like I cannot. That's why when I graduated, people were like shy. They were like, but we were partying all the time together. My friends were like, we were always out. We were always doing this. We were all going to the movies. How you graduated? Because I didn't graduate when I graduated. So some of them had to take classes again. You know, it is what it is because they weren't doing what they were supposed to do. Because I was partying, true, but I was getting my stuff done.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Facts.
realities come first.
Yeah. That's true.
Priorities,
It's true.
priorities come first.
It's such it's a lot of, I mean, pretty much every conversation we have is just relatable because it's just a daily thing that we go through just by living life, personal experiences, everything that we're talking about is just stuff that um you know that you guys have experienced before, or can think about and really relate to in some way or understand. And it's just, man, discipline is just it's a it's practical, it's needed, it makes sense, and it's a very important part of just, hey, living life, successfully, for sure. Living life successfully.
Yeah.
Discipline is always important to have, all the time. It needs to be, part of that tool belt. When you're living life, discipline is important. But I think that, again, that's a very important point, though, that growing up, can definitely influence your your ability to have that self discipline can be, hinged on how your upbringing. But even with that, even if you weren't necessarily, your upbringing didn't really, you know, help you with your own self discipline, it's not like there's never a point in time where you can't gain that or learn that and really strengthen that area, of your life and really, um, and really, be 10 toes down and really lay that foundation for yourself and just brick by brick, um, be be disciplined for yourself and take charge and take accountability, take responsibility and really, put in that work and say to yourself, I'm gonna get this done this day, I'm gonna get this done that day, and really put in the work and really be your own competition, be your own, you know, be your own motivation, be your, pep talk yourself and really get yourself in that mode where it's like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna put in that work for this, and really discipline yourself. Whether or not you started like that, you could do that right now and just be serious about it. At what point, there's no point where you can't just make that choice for yourself. In and of itself, making that choice to, just do better and progress and make purposeful, intentional choices to further yourself. That in and of itself is discipline. Because you could easily just say, forget it, or it's too late, make all the excuses, or say, make all the excuses and just say, forget it, or just not, make any changes. But you saying, I'm going to make this change, I'm going to do this, and just doing it is discipline in and of itself. So you could do that right now and just continue to deliberately, intentionally do those things and be disciplined. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, so I think that's really important. Like you said, you said it. You put it all out there, and we really hope that was some sort of motivation.
Drop some gems for y'all. Yeah. Drop some wisdom for y'all, as we always hope to do every week.
Honestly,
and,
I would.
Oh yeah, and of course, make sure y'all check out. I know y'all should see it if it's not up now, but in a hopefully maybe another hour or so. But hopefully it's already updated. We got the new cover art.
Yeah, I hope y'all check that out, and I hope y'all liked it.
Yeah, for y'all who keep up with us on social media, you already saw it already.
Something, to brighten the day.
But even if you didn't see it on the socials first yet, it's gonna be updated, so you'll see it on all the podcast platforms. The new updated cover art, so that is fire. Yep, so that's gonna be fire. Y'all gonna love that. We put in that work for that one.
Thank you so much again for checking it out.
Yep, we're hyped. You already know.
It's all about energy. Whatever we're saying on the Snap story, on the IG story, it's all about energy. Nothing personal, nothing.
I'm telling you.
It's all about motivation and saying what's on our minds and keep it pushing.
And we always dropping, content for y'all as much as we're always thinking of new content for y'all.
And trust me, we're also working on our next collection, so that's not gonna be it.
Of course.
And there's the surprise coming.
That goes without saying. That goes without saying.
Well, God is good, so keep us in your prayers. That's all for now.
Yep.
And
that's episode 13.
Thank you.
Yo. So catch us again. We're gonna be back next week again, each and every week. So much love to y'all, and peace out, Kwanza Global family.
We out. Okay.